So I came across this video. This is my first part in the interruption video. Tony Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon, they're going to be going over a few topics. I haven't really watched this show in a very long time. Honestly, have been points in the past few years where I just forgot they were on TV. So they're going to just go over the topics, and before they give their takes or their thoughts on these topics, I'll give my quick thoughts on these topics.
Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, a nearly naked man walked through a dog park covered in peanut butter.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Somebody saw me?
Okay. You were indisposed. You were not walking through any park.
Not this weekend.
Not even eating peanut butter. But the only thing missing from that line is...
Not this weekend.
A South Florida man.
Real quick, man, because there have been a few times where I would watch The Breakfast Club and I would hear Charlamagne the God talk about the people from Florida and the borderline bizarre shit that these people do. Like, I believe there was a story where this dude, he shot his mother because she, I believe she either kicked him out because of rent money or she wanted rent money from him, and he decided to shoot her. Like, it's just, like, the weird shit these people do. I don't know.
It's always a South Florida man.
It's a Florida man.
Florida man.
It doesn't always...
The panhandle?
There are websites devoted to Florida men. And it's always a Florida man, and it almost always involves methamphetamine or something like that.
You're going to be a Florida...
Real shit, man. And I'm pretty sure every single article, every single news story coming out of Florida about some weird shit that some dude is doing down in Florida has something to do with drugs. Like when that guy was on bath salts, eating some homeless dude's face, man. Like, I'm pretty sure most of them, it has something to do with drugs.
Man, at some point...
Not the way I'm going now. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, LeBron has some questions. Kyrie says he's the answer.
Yeah.
And Bryce Harper has a multiple choice. But we begin today with Robert Kraft being formally charged by Palm Beach County with 2 misdemeanor counts of solicitation for the purpose of prostitution. There is a...
All right, real quick, man, before they talk about this shit. This situation is not only serious, but I believe it's highly unnecessary. Now, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, the only thing that this dude is charged with is, I believe, soliciting a prostitute, it just means he paid a prostitute for her services. That was it. That's as far as I'm concerned. Now, if that's all it is, they're gonna bring up sex trafficking. But if all he was doing was paying a prostitute, it doesn't make any sense that they demonize and they, criminalize these guys for going out and paying for sex when porn pretty much exists. And a lot of these prostitutes, they're not demonized for the shit they're doing because they're selling their body. They're the ones going around having sex with a whole bunch of random men. But the men are locked up and the men are looked at as degenerates and all this other shit. And then the women are looked at as victims. Even though I'm pretty sure a lot of them, just like strippers, a lot of them make the choice to do that. I'm not saying all of them do. I'm pretty sure there are a nice number that is forced into that, or don't really have too many other options other than that. And I get that. But there are a lot of them that honestly just choose that lifestyle for whatever reason. And I've never been the kind of person that I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt or my sympathy for the choices you make in life. And that's the problem with people. A lot of people they put themselves through a lot of unnecessary BS, and they want other people to feel sorry for them because of their trials and tribulations in life. Everybody goes through something. Everybody has trials and tribulations. Not everybody becomes a prostitute, a drug dealer, a murderer. Not everybody does that. So, to seek sympathy because you decided to make a choice that put your life down a certain path is ridiculous. Now, this whole thing with Robert Kraft, man, if all he was doing was just buying a prostitute, which, if that's what it is, man, I don't understand why he was buying a prostitute in the first place. I mean, this dude is a billionaire. He most likely he should have like a call girl, like a service on speed dial, man. Like call up one of those, get a girl to come to your house, or you go to a fucking hotel and you just spend a weekend there or whatever. And that's a lot better than going out and getting a fucking hooker. But they're going to demonize this dude, and Tony Kornheiser is gonna make a comment about this. Just him owning the New England Patriots and how everything the Patriots do is demonized and looked at extremely negatively compared to other teams, and how the NFL still has it out. No, Roger Goodell still has it out for them. So I'm gonna let them talk.
Possibility of jail time, but Kraft will not have to appear in court the day of the hearing in April. For our purposes, Wilbon, where do you think things go from here in terms of the NFL and Kraft's ownership of the Patriots?
Tony, I think it's still way too early because there's way too much we don't know. If all it is, and when I say all it is, I don't want to sound judgmental here, but if what we're talking about is a misdemeanor, and Kraft is never connected to anything else, that's one set of circumstances. But we don't know that's all it's going to be. There are already people calling for greater investigations, more information. There's way too much to know. And you know what, Tony? This is one I don't feel the need to sort of get out ahead of. I want to see what is going to develop. So I'm not going to...
Real quick, for Tony Luzon, and this is the second time I'm listening to Michael Wilbon's spiel right there, and this is what pisses me off. All right? A lot of these celebrities are into a lot of depraved shit, and it takes one situation with one person for them to decide, oh, well, we need to know more, when there's plenty of shit that happens behind closed doors that nobody probably knows and nobody's concerned about until somebody reports it or reports some shit that happened, and now everybody feels like you're obligated to fucking to tell them everything, or they have the right to know everything that's going on, or they have the right to know everything that you do behind closed doors. All of these fucking NFL owners are probably into some pretty weird shit. Most of them probably have some kind of drug-related issues. Like, there's probably a lot that's going on. So to just isolate Robert Kraft, like, this dude could potentially be doing some shit that's extremely illegal, and now everybody needs to pretty much just crack open his life and just expose every fucking thing. It's ridiculous. If you do it with him, you're gonna have to do it with every fucking owner. You're gonna have to treat every owner the fucking same. Everybody's gonna have to be fucking investigated for anything illegal that they may be doing. All these fucking celebrities are doing something illegal. All these fucking, and I'm not gonna go down a list of celebrities that I've either heard shit about or there have been confirmed reports about. But the one thing I will say, man, this whole R. Kelly thing, and I'm not saying R. Kelly is not a degenerate for doing what he did all these years, and I've never forgotten it, and I've never really joked about anything that R. Kelly has done. But over the years, since his initial incident where he was, I guess, indicted because of these rape allegations, people just ignored it. And that's the problem with these celebrities, man. If they enjoy what you do, if they like your music, if they love your movies, they will ignore the bullshit you do. Like, look at Robert Downey Jr. And I'm a huge Robert Downey Jr. fan. Like, I believe he's a phenomenal actor. But that doesn't cloud the fact that this dude had serious legal issues before he became Iron Man and started doing all this Marvel shit that pretty much blasted his career into the stratosphere. He was involved in a lot of shit, and he had drug issues and all this other stuff. And he was a joke. He was a joke. Whenever people would make Robert Downey Jr. jokes, it was usually because of his legal issues. But because he became Iron Man, he became a staple for that company, everybody ignored it. Everybody forgot about it. And that's what happened with this R. Kelly thing. The years went by. Time has separated the people from the incident, so they just forgot about it. Like, or they joke about it. Like, it's like this thing that happened a long time ago. So, fuck it. But now that this shit is coming out with all this other stuff, now people are acting like this is a fresh wound and oh my God, he is so terrible and all this other shit. Come on, man. It was terrible back then. And now the only reason why it's terrible now is because we live in this fucking society where it is super fucking sensitive and everybody has to, I guess, be extra fucking sensitive and extra PC about every goddamn thing. No, man, look, this dude has been the same person for years. And it took another situation to come up, or it took another situation to bring all this shit to light. And, for y'all people to fucking realize that this dude may have raped somebody and now he may have raped somebody again. And now it stopped being a joke and now it's a serious fucking issue. Like, this, it's been the same way for years, man. People just forgot about this shit. Like, it didn't matter anymore. And I'm not, I don't know, man. I try to stay away from the whole R. Kelly thing, man, because I don't want to demonize one dude when there's, I'm pretty sure, a lot of shit going on in Hollywood that nobody knows about, but nobody gives a fuck about. Because they either love the movies, love the music, and they just ignore that shit unless it's brought out. So, I don't know, man. Like, I don't put too much stock in these stories, man, because they feel forced and they feel canned. And if you investigate one dude on his actions in his profession, everybody would have to be indicted or everybody would have to be investigated, because I'm pretty sure they're all into a whole bunch of other stuff that's extremely illegal. Now Robert Kraft is going to become the poster boy, or he's going to become just that image that you think about when you talk about sex trafficking, because this dude is going to bring this shit up. And I didn't hear shit about sex trafficking. All I heard was he solicited a prostitute, which means he bought a prostitute. Sex trafficking is when you just fucking, when you fucking either kidnapping girls or when you're kidnapping women and you fucking selling them off, or you're making, like you're sending them to like some sex club over in some motherfucking country. Like, that's the type of shit that this dude's talking about. Like, no. All I heard was soliciting a prostitute. And now this dude is going to be in the NFL. This dude is going to be the image you see when you talk about depraved sexual activities, when you talk about anything NFL. And I don't think it's fair, man. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you have an itch you have to get scratched. And as long as you're not raping anybody, and if he's paying for it and the woman is a consensual adult, I don't see a problem with it, man.
Talk about the legality of this because I'm not a lawyer. Right. I'm going to look at this in terms of Robert Kraft and his reputation and his legacy. And I'm going to go bolder than you're going to go. I think this is how it is going to end. I think it is going to end with him giving the team to his son and him never being in that sweep again. I don't think...
And I believe that too. I believe they're going to force him out. They're going to force him out. I've heard this story plenty of times. Robert Kraft bought the New England Patriots almost pennies what they're worth now. And I'm not saying that this is his legacy, because I'm pretty sure he was a extremely wealthy man before he bought the team. But I'm pretty sure this is his love. This team is his love. And they're going to force him out because of this. Which, it's not fair, honestly.
This is like Jimmy Irsay with drugs and a personal history of that problem. I don't think this is like Jerry Richardson with inappropriate behavior towards employees. I think once you put in these two words, sex trafficking, whether Robert Kraft knew this or not, right, I think that changes it. And Mike, the Patriots are the most hated sports team in America. Roger Goodell has slapped around Robert Kraft a number of times, and Kraft has slapped back. And I honestly believe this is going to end with him out of the Patriots.
So certainly, Tony, there are people looking at this and reading the tea leaves as you are. And there's plenty of time for that.
Your position is the well-countered position.
Tony, you know what? Every time we have these...
Also, I believe this is going to make the New England Patriots the target. If Robert Kraft leaves, this is going to make the New England Patriots targets for Roger Goodell. Because I could see Robert Kraft being just that wall that protects the team from Roger Goodell. Because Roger Goodell and Robert Kraft are friends. And as much as this dude has been seriously trying to do everything he can to punish the Patriots because, they beat him in court. Tom Brady beat him in court. The whole Deflategate, they won that case. And Roger Goodell found a way to get that shit reopened and get it to at least go his way a little bit. But in the mind of every fucking not in the mind of every sports fan, in the mind of most sports fans, he lost. And this isn't the first time he lost. He lost during the Ray Rice incident. He lost during there was another incident. The New Orleans thing. The whole New Orleans situation, man. Like, this dude has been stacking up L's for a very long time. And the one that he really needed to win was this war against New England. Because I guess in his mind that would have validated his validate his position, I guess. Because people hate New England. And if he would have won against New England, I mean, I'm pretty sure that, for the most part, he would have been looked at way differently than he is now. But with Robert Kraft leaving, I believe he's going to give up the team, most likely to his son. This is going to open New England up for a whole lot of attacks. And, I don't know, man. I just see bullshit happening in the near future once this is resolved and once the conclusion happens. I say conclusive. The conclusion happens. Once the conclusion is brought forth, I believe Roger Goodell is going to go on the attack, man. Shit. And this is just me speculating, man. I wouldn't even be surprised if Roger Goodell has something to do with this story even getting the fuck out. Because if you buy a hooker, man, if you solicit a hooker, I don't know, man. With his kind of money, this is probably not the first time that this dude has done this. So, I don't know, man.
Serious issues that are a combination of legal and cultural. We wind up having a blind spot and we don't know what's coming. And I don't know what's coming.
No.
And I will say this. I suspect it will be more serious than simply a misdemeanor. But I don't know. And I don't see around corners that well and that precisely to see how Robert Kraft is going to wind up in this. We've reached the point, Tony, where from now until the end of the season, it's going to be wall-to-wall Lakers. You love that, don't you?
I do. I like the Lakers.
I know you do.
Well, only because of LeBron.
Installment deals with a crushing loss to the Pelicans, who without Anthony Davis completely dominated the Lakers. Afterward, LeBron worried openly about his team lacking a sense of urgency. Tony, with only 23 games left and 3 games back of the 8th and final playoff spot in the West, do you think it's more likely the team will somehow come together or simply fall apart.
I missed most of this weekend, so this is a fair...
All right, real quick, man. And I thought about this recently when I did that video on the Los Angeles Lakers. Somebody brought to my attention that LeBron is one of those guys who is so fucking basketball smart that he just expects everybody, and I know people like that who are such perfectionists. I'm like that, who are such perfectionists. They just expect everybody. What they believe common sense isn't really what common sense is to other people. Like the way I think about things, or the way I approach things, or the way I do things, especially things that I think are simple, I expect everybody to either believe it's simple, like to just know, like, this is simple shit, or to already know this shit, not have me tell them. They should already know it. And then I forget that everybody's different. Everybody has a way of doing their own thing. And sometimes I could forget that, and I could be oblivious to other people's feelings, and I could be oblivious to other people's, thoughts, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say. But I believe that's the problem LeBron is having, man, with this team. It's the same problem he had with the Cleveland Cavaliers, man, last year, is that in certain situations, like especially during basketball games, and basketballs, like in situational portions of the game, you expect your teammates to react a certain way because it's the way that you're going to react. Especially when you've been playing with the team for a while, you just expect them to react the way you react in certain situations because they should be used to how you react to certain things. And I believe that. I believe I believe LeBron believes that his team should. And like, this is a crucial part of the year, and LeBron knows this. And he feels as though this team should have a sense of urgency to step their game up or something like this. But that's the problem. Like, LeBron has to trust his teammates more. Like, you can't just throw these guys into the fire like that. And what I mean by fire is, the playoff race. You can't throw them into the fire like that and expect them to know how to deal with it. Sometimes it takes experience to know how to deal with this. Like, LeBron didn't know how to deal with this his first 2 years in the NFL. Being able to get his team to the playoffs, being able to win games that need to be won. Like, great teams win the games that they should win and then play well in those games that are closer, tighter, and find a way to get the job done most of the time. And a lot of times this season, I've seen better teams lose to inferior talent. Like the Boston Celtics losing to the Chicago Bulls by 10 points. And Zach LaVine put up 42 points on you. Like, I've seen that a number of times where the better team loses to the worst team. Not the worst team, just the inferior team. And as the leader of the team, it's LeBron's job to get through to his teammates, man. It's his job. At some point, you got to stop expecting them to just know what to do. And you got to teach these guys what to do. Because he's not teaching them anything. I'm pretty sure he's not teaching them any fucking thing. These are young kids, man, who's not even 5 years. I don't believe any one of those young upstarts is 5 years in the league, man. I believe they're all they've been in the league for less than 5 years. And experience is good, especially in situations. You know how to deal with certain situations. So,
serious question. Am I sitting on the moon right now? Am I on the moon?
No, you're not.
Because did LeBron James willingly and eagerly go to the Lakers?
Yes.
Do you think he knew what their record was last year?
Yeah.
Do you think he knew the roster that they had last year?
Yeah.
Okay. LeBron James, who I love, has been 8 times to the finals, sometimes without much of a supporting cast. But if you're going to talk about being a leader, you're going to talk about being the GOAT, you're going to talk about all the things that are LeBron, then go lead this team. then go lead this.
I believe I started demanding that 2 weeks ago.
Lead this.
Look, Tony, 23 games left is a critical part of that sentence. And it means you got to get hot now. I looked at the Lakers' schedule. They got to win 4 of the next 5, or they're going to lose contact. Okay? Because the Sacramento Kings aren't trying to do them any favors. The Sacramento Kings despise the Lakers.
Yeah,
so there's a real rivalry, even if it's one way. But I think they're going to come together. I do. I'm not going to call it hope. I still believe in LeBron James' ability to rally a team, and I think there's enough talent when I look at Ingram and Kuzma in particular, and Ball's going to come back, and he's going to help them defensively and with ball handling.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you that LeBron tried to trade every one of these guys in order
but they're
to
still
get
there.
If they don't...
At this point, people should just be used to that shit. Like, you should just be used to the fact that if you play with LeBron James, there's a chance that he may get pissed off and piss a bitch, and you may get traded at some point during the season. He's been trying to trade motherfuckers for the last 3 years of his fucking career. Like, there have been a whole lot of trade speculations with his teams the last 3 years. Like, at this point, people should just be used to this shit, man. They should just be used to it.
Make the playoffs. If LeBron, after being to 8 straight finals, doesn't make the playoffs, if Magic Johnson, after 5-time champion and 12 years in the league and never missing the playoffs, if that combination doesn't make the playoffs, it is the second biggest story of the year behind whoever is the eventual champion. They've got guys...
No. I believe it'll be a massive story, like I said before. But I think an even bigger story over that would be if the Clippers made the playoffs. If you would have asked anybody that watches basketball, what team had a better chance to make the playoffs this year, 100% you'll get the Los Angeles Lakers, unless you come across a Clippers fan. But I'm pretty sure even they would say the fucking Lakers, man. But the Lakers would have been the choice because they have LeBron, man. They have LeBron. Now, if the Clippers make the playoffs and the Los Angeles Lakers lose and they don't make the playoffs, that's a massive story. Massive story. And it's a huge blow to the mystique that is LeBron James.
Playoff experience. They got Rondo. They got Stevenson. They got McGee. LeBron, honestly, I love LeBron. You know what?
Lead him. Pull
him down the road. Pull him down the road.
Do you think he will?
Yes, I do.
And real quick, and then I'm going to let them move on to the Kyrie portion. Lance Stevenson, Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, when the start of the season, a lot of people were talking about Rajon Rondo like, oh man, Rondo's back. This is the Boston Celtics Rondo post the big three where he was getting triple doubles left and right, and he was dishing for like 10 to 15 assists a game and all this other stuff. And he was the league leader in assists. They were talking about him like that. It was kind of like that Derrick Rose thing where he had that 50-point game and everybody kept talking about MVP Rose is back. Like, you're a professional athlete. Sometimes you'll have a stretch, especially when you're smart as a basketball player. And Rajon Rondo is intelligent as a basketball player. You'll have these stretches where you just play so well above your actual talent level that you look better than you actually are. And I believe that's what's going on right now, is that his little stretch in New Orleans boosted boosted his acclaim by the fans way more than it should have been. And when they got Lance Stevenson, I didn't even think Lance Stevenson can't play outside of Indiana. When he first was drafted to Indiana, he started playing so well that people thought that this dude might be like almost a Dennis Rodman type player where, defensively, he was a nuisance. He was, I guess, a really good defender. I don't know too much about Lance Stevenson back then because, it was still a hype of the Miami Heat, and I was more focused on that. So, and I just knew Lance Stevenson was a solid player. But then he went to Charlotte, did nothing, was almost laughable. He went back to Indiana, like, I believe a couple years ago. Started playing way better. I mean, way fucking better. And now he plays for, I believe he played for another team too. I just can't think of the team right now. But now he plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, and people, they're not even talking about him. So when they first signed these dudes, I kind of thought that it was overblown that they were even talking about these guys, because JaVale McGee, he was a laughingstock in Washington. He was a laughingstock. He was considered one of those stupidest players in the NBA because of the dumb shit that he would do. And he would just keep doing dumb shit. It was just, I believe he was like a Shaqtin' a Fool champion for like, 3 years. He just kept doing a lot of bullshit. And then he went to the Golden State Warriors. He got his game down pat a little bit better. Became a two-time NBA champion. And now they talking about this dude like he's one of the best rim protectors in the NBA or something like that. I mean, he was a solid role player in Golden State. But it's not hard to succeed in Golden State with the talent level and the way they play basketball there. And he wasn't asked to do much. I'm pretty sure Washington needed him to step up more. But he's not asked to do much in Golden State. So I just thought all those signings were overblown, man.
Me too.
Yes, I do. But I'm giving the other side of this. And now, because we can't go a day here without a Kyrie Irving story, and he's your boy.
You're a little less enthusiastic.
Here is today's. After the Celtics lost to the terrible Chicago Bulls over the weekend,
Beat down.
Irving was asked if he was worried about the Celtics' inconsistent play now carrying over into the playoffs. Why don't we listen?
You're concerned the struggle that you guys have week into the playoffs?
No, it'll be fine.
Why do you think that?
Because I'm here.
Okay. I believe these comments are confident. They don't sound arrogant. Now, if he would have said who was it? Tony Kornheiser. If he would have said what I believe Tony Kornheiser said earlier, where he was like, Kyrie said he's the answer, that's arrogant. That's a more arrogant response than because I'm here. So I believe that the Boston Celtics are in trouble if this continues. And I've been saying this for a minute, man, but if this seriously continues, where they're losing to non-playoff teams and all this, man, like, going into the playoffs last year, the Boston Celtics were on a hot streak. Kyrie went down around this time, and the young guys stepped up, and they kind of went on a little stretch right before the playoffs. I don't know, man. This has been an all-year thing, but the Celtics are still winning because they're super talented. They have a lot of talent on this team. They have way too much talent for them to lose more games than they win. So, I don't know. I don't know if in a 7-game series, Milwaukee, Philly, or Toronto could beat them. But when you're losing to Chicago and then you're giving up back-to-back 20-point leads to both the Lakers and the Clippers, I don't know, man. It's just not looking well, man. It's not looking good.
Oh, is this confidence or arrogance?
Both. And one thing I've learned, Tony,
in no way is this arrogance. I'm pretty sure the reason why he's saying it is because he believes in his ability to at least do his job to the best of his ability. I mean, it's not like arrogance is like him coming out and saying, after being asked that question, and saying, like, I'm the only answer. Like, there's no way to get it done without me. That's arrogance. For him to say, because I'm here, we'll be fine once the playoffs start. That's confidence. You're confident in your ability to do your job. You're confident in your ability to contribute at a high level. That's different. It's not arrogance. There's a difference. I'm pretty sure people can hear an arrogant comment when you hear it.
Just from being around.
Or that. Notice an arrogant comment when they hear it. Sorry.
All sports is there are guys who seem to have irrational levels of confidence, and that's what tends to, in part, in addition to the physical skills, make them great. They almost seem delusional, but they're not. I mean, they can deliver on these promises, and Kyrie Irving is of that talent level. Now, I'm not going to say they're automatically okay, because I'm looking at Milwaukee, and I'm looking at Philly, and I'm looking at Toronto. I'm even looking at the Pacers, who have no reason to be playing as well as they are, but they are. And I'm thinking, okay, Kyrie, you better deliver on this. Yeah. That's Tony, that's worse than, people go out and say, I guarantee we're going to win Game 7. That doesn't mean anything. What Kyrie Irving did just there, that meant something.
So I'm going to get off the cover.
And real quick, man, to kind of comment off of what Wilbon was saying, Milwaukee hasn't proved anything. Philly hasn't proved anything. Honestly, Philly hasn't. Wait, did Philly win? No, Philly lost. Philly has been losing to the Celtics. And Toronto has been pretty even since. No, actually, it's been pretty even for the last few years. I mean, Milwaukee has always been a tough out for the Celtics. None of them have proven that they can beat the Celtics in the playoffs. Milwaukee should have won last year because they were completely healthy, and Boston had two injured stars, and Boston beat them in 7 games. And a huge chunk of that praise goes to Terry Rozier, who almost humiliated Eric Bledsoe. So Milwaukee, they still need to prove themselves. You got bounced out of the first round last year. And moving on to the Philadelphia 76ers, nothing can be said for you having both your star players and you losing in 5 games. I mean, people were talking about going into the playoff run. People were talking about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid as stars, superstars, not just stars, superstars. You have 2 superstars on your team. That's the type of shit I was hearing. And then they get bounced out in 5 games. Oh, they're too young. They still need to learn more. And all this. No, they're superstars. Y'all called them superstars. They're superstars. How the hell do they need to learn more when they're superstars? And, that's what you called them. So they still need to prove themselves. Right now, Boston don't need to prove shit. All they need to do is go out and play. Milwaukee needs to prove themselves. Philly needs to prove themselves. And Toronto may need to prove themselves, because to lose the way they did, being the number 1 seed to LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers, that was almost humiliating. And DeMar's not there. You have Kawhi Leonard. There's no LeBron. I don't know, man. The way they lost last year was almost. I don't know the word. Like they were embarrassed. It's worse than humiliated. I'm just using embarrassed because that's just all that's coming. They were ran off the court by one person, because that was the only guy that was really fucking making their life a living hell during that series was LeBron. And I believe Tristan Thompson actually stepped his game up way more than he has in the past. But I don't know, man. The way they lost last year, and they lose to LeBron like that almost every time they see him in the playoffs. And now that LeBron's gone, I don't know, man. They just need to prove themselves as a top seed, man. Yeah, they need to prove themselves. They have a lot to prove.
Irving bus.
Why?
I'll let you drive it from now. Because I think he's a miserable person.
Oh, come on.
Mike, he is critical of everybody all the time. He is.
That sounds exactly like LeBron James. Kyrie he's trying to be LeBron James. But there's a difference, man. There's a difference. And I'm not saying that he's just throwing his teammates under the bus to avoid blame. he understands, and I'm pretty sure he understands that it's on everybody. It's not just his teammates that need to get better. It's him as well. I mean, every day you should grow, and not just in sports and life, man. Every day you should grow. It should be a way to learn and to evolve into something that you wasn't before. You know, something a little more. I mean, if you're not improving every single day, then you're regressing. The line is always moving. It's just whether it's moving forward or backward. And Kyrie understands that, and he knows that every day is going to be work. They are not champions. They're not close to being champions. They got close last year, but it wasn't enough. You have to improve, especially if you want to beat Golden State in 7 games.
Standing there with a comment like that saying, I'm a leader. But here's what I wonder about. You would know better than I. I don't know that all his teammates like to play with him. I don't know that all his teammates always trust him. I don't know that what he says from Monday is good on Tuesday, is good on Wednesday. And I think he's a great talent. I think he's the best ball handler in the league. I think he's better than Steph Curry.
I do too.
I think that talent is there.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to search for that thing, that essence of Kyrie Irving that I can absolutely depend on. Do you think it's there?
The Celtics are searching for it too.
Do you think it's there?
They don't like playing with him. And I said this before, man. Like, Jason Tatum, he wants Kyrie gone. And I can totally believe if it came out that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown played with far less effort because they want this team to lose. So Kyrie don't have a reason to be here. Like, I honestly believe that. And some of these athletes are so fucking, they're so twisted in the head that I could believe a story that say Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown don't want to win a title unless it's them leading the team to the fucking title. I could believe a story like that. Now, do I think it's true? No. I mean, if you have a chance to win, you have a chance to win. But I don't know how bad that relationship is between them, between the three of those guys. I believe Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum like each other. They like each other. I'm pretty sure they're pretty close friends, I guess, or pretty close as teammates. I mean, they have similar playing styles, but last year in the playoffs, you could just see they were in sync. And I was trying to think of the word. They were in sync with each other, like when they were on the court together. And I don't know, I could see them not liking Kyrie. And like, I know they don't like Kyrie. I know they don't want Kyrie there. And I believe that's the reason why they're giving less effort than they did last year. But I don't know if it's going to go as far as them to actually want the team to lose so Kyrie can leave. And then it's their team. Like, Jason Tatum wants to lead the team, but right now it's Kyrie's team. And if Kyrie signs a contract and stays in Boston, Tatum is going to want to go. Like, Tatum is not going to want to stay. And I believe that. I don't know if Jaylen Brown would leave, but I know Jason Tatum would leave. He would want to be traded. So.
And that's why I just said he's got to deliver on that. Let me tell you something. The Bulls, and I know they're a lot better with the addition of Otto Porter, who got hurt in that game. They took them out. Okay, they took the Celtics out. In a game, you start by thinking, the Celtics are going to win this game. So Kyrie, Tony, he has set himself up as the guy who has to deliver on that promise.
Right, because he wants so desperately to be a leader.
Yes.
Do you think that down deep he has a particular sense of self that is trustable?
He has
teammates?
It's only trustable if you win. Right? This year.
No, that shouldn't matter. Winning shouldn't matter. When Kyrie flip-flops all over the fucking place like he does, it almost shows that he's unsure about himself. And this is what I can see the issue. And this is where now I can start seeing where they can start thinking it's arrogant. Is when you're flip-flopping all over the place with a lot of the decisions you make. And now you come out and you say this extremely confident thing like, I'm here. It almost seems arrogant. It almost seems arrogant because there's nothing for sure about anything you do, anything you say. You know, like at one point, you know, he was all for staying in Boston, and he even let it be known at the, I don't want to call it a pep rally, but that's pretty much what the fuck it was. And he let it be known that he wanted to stay if the team will have him, which I do understand what that means. But now you're talking about, I don't owe nobody nothing, and nobody said you did. But you were the one that came out and said you wanted to stay. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Kyrie has a lot of shit he needs to figure out. Do I believe he's a leader? No. I don't know. I think it takes time and experience, and you have to have a team that's both committed to you and you committed to that team in order for you to learn how to be a leader. So, I don't know. There's a few more topics. I don't really feel like going through them right now. It's like pretty early in the fucking morning. But I don't know. Between the Robert Kraft situation, the LeBron situation, and the Kyrie situation, the Robert Kraft thing is I'm going to try to keep up with that, because the one thing I hope they don't do is completely railroad this guy. And we'll see. All right.